Today I'm going to be looking at the Terrahawks. Which ones? The Terrahawk. Yes, but which one? The command ship, the Terrahawk. But they're all Terrahawks. Yes, but never mind. I'm also looking at the Hawkwing. Wasn't he the Avengers? So, this is what I was trying to derive comedy value from. This is the sort of supersized Bandai / Poppy Terrahawk from Terrahawks. And if you're unfamiliar, this is a craft that sits on top of the much larger Battlehawk craft and serves as the Battlehawk's command deck, but can also separate and fly away from Battlehawk to land somewhere else to offer Einstein a different vantage point to survey the battleground from. So that was the idea of it, is that this is his sort of command and control craft. Now, ordinarily I would get this out to show you, but you know what's coming, don't you? Because I think you can probably make it out here. There appear to be ties still on this Terrahawk, and all of its missiles are on its sprue. It's got a generous half-dozen number of missiles there, and it's got quite a nice condition badge as well up the top here, which they should all have. Now, the box to me, just looking at it, does not actually look sealed as such. But I feel that is what. But I think the right terminology is unused contents, possibly. Given that, I mean, there's even I think a little bit of sellotape over the top of the missiles there. So I'm pretty sure that has, if it has been taken out of the box, it's never come out of the polystyrene. That would be my guess. So I'm kind of tempted to leave it as it is, but I do want to take a moment just to look at this box as a concept, because there is an awful lot of see-through film around this box, and I'm just thinking that on shelves, trying to stack that would have been rather interesting. And you've got this back card here as well, which is great if it'll stand up, but if it doesn't and it sort of gets trapped on something, the odds of that coming clean off this box must be quite high, because it's not, it's not like if you're going to stack them on top of each other, all you've got really to rest on is this a bit here, and that's quite flimsy. So I'm not really sure what they had in mind design-wise when they put them together like this, because it is fairly heavy. This is a full-on metal. Metal, there'll be some plastic to it, but elements of the Terrahawk will be metal, which means it's going to be fairly weighty. It's going to have two legs underneath it. I mean, I'll see, you can only see so much if I leave it in the box, obviously, but if I could get one loose, I'd probably get one loose. But I don't see them that often. They don't come up that often. But this box has got a little bit of damage to it, so I can't claim that it's a perfect box. But you can see on the back here, these were the other items in this particular range that were available. Now, Space Hawk here never came out as a large version. There was a small version, which I think I had, but this large version, it seems, never made it onto shelves, which is a shame. Got Sergeant Major Zero there, this sort of Action Zeroids version. Hawkwing, which I'll be showing you shortly. Battlehawk. Now, don't get me started on Battlehawk, because the prices for Battlehawk on eBay are insane. They range from anything in the sort of mid-hundreds up to £16,000. I kid you not, and I don't know why. Somebody somewhere clearly really spiked that market, and I don't know why, because there are several of them for sale. They're not that uncommon, they just never sell because no one wants to pay that much for them. So I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, we've got Treehawk, which I've showed you in previous videos, which I have a loose one of. Obviously, we have Terrahawk here. As you can see, the wings hinge up and it has a pair of articulated legs that come down to allow it to sort of stand up and give Ninestein a better vantage point. You can see here there's a little tiny Terrahawk on the top of this Battlehawk model, just there, and that is where it normally sits. So there is this tiny version of it available, and there are also some sort of friction versions of it available. That's what the other side of the box looks like. I mean, it would have had a great shelf presence. I've just measured it. It's 24 centimeters square and about 9 centimeters deep. So you're not going to miss it on a shelf. So it definitely had that going for it. I just worry for it with this element. But obviously, this one has come through intact. That is a nice unyellowed see-through film on it. So I think as examples go, apart from the slight tear to the box, it's not at all bad. So, I was pleased to get one in that sort of condition so that I could show it to you on this, because you don't always see them like that. And I've certainly got a worse example of a box for the smaller vehicles, triple set. So as you can see here, this is actually the only Space Hawk that we got. But my box for this is very, very battered. But it's exactly the same principle. Lots of polystyrene on the front there. See-through film on the front. Polystyrene. But that doesn't surprise me at all, because you've got to bear in mind these were being produced by Bandai and also Poppy. So because many Japanese toys arrive in solid polystyrene, this is why these were appearing in solid polystyrene. But it's a great method of protection. It's massively wasteful of resources, obviously, but back in those days, that was not a concern. So you got Space Hawk, Hawkwing, and Terrahawk in this pack, which is a sort of smaller size generally. So here is Hawkwing, and it's a bit of a beast, quite frankly, because in effect you've got two toys in one, neither of which are small. And just by eye, this box is more sort of rectangular than the Terrahawk box. Again, I've got a little bit of tear damage there. The film is slightly yellowed, although it may just be dirty, to be honest. It feels a little bit dusty. I haven't really tried to clean it yet. But you can tell it's had some exposure to the sun, because the badge is very, very faded compared to the Terrahawk badge. The Terrahawk badge is very, very mint. There's no two ways about it. That's a really nice example of it, whereas this one has definitely been exposed to sunshine during its time. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this has been out of the box before. And I say that because the only way that somebody could have extracted just a single missile from the sprue there is by going into the box. So I'm going to unbox it, effectively. Although, as I say, not so much probably, because I'm sure it's already been out in its lifetime before. It's not sellotaped in. So I'm just going to grab it out, because I think it would be rude not to. Because this is a Terrahawk that I never had when I was growing up. I believe I had the smaller version of it, but I did not get this big version. And interestingly, the Hawkwing does not appear on eBay auctions anywhere near as often as other things do, to my mind. So I do wonder whether or not this is actually... Excellent, I've got the instructions. I was hoping I would have the instructions in the box. So I think this is actually a less common... Let me just show you the sides of the box. So that's what it has on the side there. So that was very similar to the Terrahawk box that I showed you just now. Very, very similar approach. And actually, I suppose the other thing I've not shown you, my apologies, is the Whirlpool sort of graphic that they've got on the back there, where Hawkwing is exiting from its hidden base through the water vortex. And then it just gives you a little bit of sort of detail on the back there. I'll show you that again at the end, and I'll show you the back of the Terrahawk box as well, because I'd forgotten that there was that much detail on the back of them. But let's have a look at this. Let me aim you down slightly. So I mean, it's really vivid orange, really, really good colours. But because it's not white, of course, it's not going to. It looks like that was what. I can't believe those were the original ones, but anyway. But because it's not white, you see, it hasn't suffered from the sun damage, I think. I think it's gotten away with it. So the silver's probably protected it. And here we are, the specifications and instructions for the Hawkwing. Brilliant. So it's just that. It's only that big. So there we go. So wings retract into the fuselage. Bomb wing separates from main craft, which I already knew. Function, atmospheric interceptor. I bet this is in the annual. The annual had quite a tech spec on it. And the other interesting thing about this was that Bandai actually used the original designs for Hawkwing to make the toy. And this toy was then used in the series when they needed a spare Hawkwing to blow up or, whatever. So actually, this is near as damn it show accurate, because it's actually in the show, ironically enough, in a slightly backwards fashion. But it is sometimes the way of that. I think that happened with some of the Star Trek shows as well. Sometimes they'd actually use sort of the AMT kits in the show if they just needed to blow up a ship, on camera, rather than obviously blowing up the main filming model, which would be a bad thing. So here we've got colour distinguishing marks, zonal capacity, Earth atmosphere / threshold of space, hydroctane fuel, Campbelling SGV-9 turbo thrust. I just love this sort of detail. I don't know, it's just me, it's a me thing. I'm sure it's other people's things as well, but they give you the full-on raging tech specs basically, which I love, and I just love the fact that somebody puts the thought into these things to do that. So Bandai UK Limited was based on the High Street of Guildford in Surrey in the UK. Copyright 1983. Terrahawks is a registered trademark of Anderson Burr Pictures Limited. So of course it was a dual production. So crew, Eggshell, Kate Kestrel, which is the bottom craft, and Gunbay, which is the wing, is Hawkeye. Armour 10, which means it's secret. Firepower, fire flash particle accelerators, high energy laser cannon, and sting wing missile capability. The Hawkwing, a deadly fighter aircraft, is launched in an underground tunnel attached to a powerful overhead catapult, which accelerates the craft from 0 to 750 feet per second in 10 seconds. The catapult releases the Hawkwing, which flies under computer control in the tunnel curving upwards. In the lake near the base, the giant turbine is gathering speed to create a vortex in the water. The timing is critical. The tunnel entrance under the lake opens, and the Hawkwing screams through the vortex and climbs skyward as the turbine shuts down and the waters close over to conceal their secret once more. So, if any of that goes wrong, Hawkwing ends up splattered or turns into a submarine, I guess. I don't know, but sounds bad. But this was the price they paid for trying to keep their launch sequence secret from Zelda. Missile fire button, missile. Yeah, so I've actually got the spare, the already removed missile is clearly floating around in the box. So let's see if I can put it together for you. I always hate doing stuff on camera for the first time because it has the potential to go horribly wrong. Oh, it's so... Sorry, I'm just laughing because it's so plasticky, which is not what I expect from a Poppy Bandai product at all, but that is so plastic. Wow, okay. I'm not even sure. I mean, I think when it was flying, these went up into that sort of position. But obviously they're sort of variable geometry, but they're really nice. The joints are really stiff still. So there's no danger of that sort of dropping back down. And you see, this was actually like a gliding bomb, effectively. So Hawkeye could come down from here, transfer underneath into the main, I think, what do they call it, the Hawklet or something? And basically he'd end up sat behind Kate Kestrel, and then the wing could actually just sort of plummet down and explode on the target. So it was a clever sort of setup. Now please tell me this isn't as plasticky as that, because, oh my god, it is. That's quite frightening. There's no weight to, oh, good lord, there's no weight to it at all. I'm really surprised, because if I'm ever able to find a Battlehawk at a sensible price, I could swear that the Battlehawk was far more metallic. Whether it's because of the size of this, they felt they couldn't put any metal into it, I don't know, but that is scarily light. Yeah, it was really, really light. I'm really quite surprised by that. But let's crack on with this. And so we've got attachments at the top there, and I think we're gonna slide those into there, and then slide it forwards to lock it in, I would imagine. Yeah, there we go. So that is what Hawkwing looks like when it's on the wing. So if I just pull back a little bit there. So as you can see, you know, the overall model, once it's actually fully complete, is big. And actually, you know, with it being that plastic, it's light for a child to play with. So I do get that as a concept. I completely understand why somebody would have done it on that basis. So that missile just slots in there. And I then fire it by pressing this and lose it forever. Wow, that was a good shot. That was a good shot, and I haven't lost it, which is a bonus. But yeah, that's an impressive firing mechanism even now. That's still very, very happily firing. And then these wings should also retract in, because I don't know if I want to try that actually. But they should, in theory, go in. I feel like I'm pushing my luck with that, but I think when it was in that mode, obviously it had the benefit of the upper wings. We didn't need the lower wings. When the craft separate, then it would use its lower wings. But hopefully those will still. Or maybe they won't. Okay, that's not good. I'm sure they will pop out again. I'm going to leave that in there. So maybe that mechanism's a little bit broken. All right. Well, I'll sort that out after the event anyway. I'm sure it will come off of in due course. So yeah, I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive. And the mechanism for attaching the wing on top is very clever as well, because that's definitely not going anywhere once it's in place. So it's a very, very swooshable sort of ship when it's like that. And I could easily see why they could use that in the series, because, you know, for sort of close-ups and stuff, you could definitely get away with that at a distance. That's the sort of the aft view of it there. So it's, you know, it's nicely detailed. I mean, obviously, I bet they're probably prone to getting lost very, very easily. The sort of the main guns on the front there. So those as a play piece, probably not such a great idea. Let's just see if we can see the details there. There we go. So so still calling it Bandai Poppy, even though most of the packaging is just Bandai. So I think Bandai were about to reabsorb Poppy at this point. Yeah. So you can probably make that out better than I can as I'm filming. Anderson Burr Pictures, that's it, yeah. Yeah. Made in Hong Kong, this one, actually. Interesting. Okay, so not Singapore. I've often seen Poppy stuff coming out of Singapore. Hong Kong would be relatively unusual, and this was even more so these days, but... Alright, so... that is the rather cool Hawkwing with, of course, a launch sequence that you don't really forget once you've seen it, because it is rather unique. I mean, not so much for Thunderbirds in a sense either, but, you know, there are sort of obviously echoes of that. But I think the Terrahawks mansion was based in South America, so because it was kind of on land, you know, they had to be even more careful with secrecy, I suppose, and that was the theory. But yeah, that's the full size, supersize, if you will, Hawkwing, which obviously is, you know, massively dwarfing the smaller versions you could get. But the one interesting thing is they went for a sort of a clear bubble for the sort of the wing element they were there, but I can't see a pilot, and obviously they just went for a solid blue canopy down the bottom there. So they could have gone, you know, they could have put little figures in there if they'd chosen to, I think. But obviously they've opted not to. But yeah, you know, nice things to have in the hand again. Even more so because it's a boxed example. You definitely wouldn't miss them on shelves because they were big boxes. But I wonder how well they did sell. And before I forget, the one thing that suddenly struck me the other night when I was thinking about doing this video, is that the only ships that they sold were hero ships. Zelda had fightercraft called Zeefs that were used frequently in this series. There are no toy Zeefs. Equally, she had a base on Mars that was composed of spaceships, which did on occasion separate from one another. And again, no toys of those exist. So I don't understand why they didn't release toys of her ships when they released figures of her as an action figure. So, it's a really, really odd choice. Maybe and the series lasted 3 seasons. It was actually around for a good couple of years. So they had time to do more stuff for it if they'd wanted to, but for some reason they chose not to. So if you know why that happened, do let me know in the comments, because it seems like a massively short-sighted approach on their part. If they wanted to sell more toys, I would have expected to see enemy ships, and we never got them. So, as I say, please do let me know in the comments if you know why that was, because I am intrigued as to why that would have been the case. So, I hope you've enjoyed looking at those two. If I ever do get a Battlehawk, obviously I will have a look at that one as well. And perhaps at one point I'll do some sort of big family shot. But as I say, I am kind of hesitant to get that Terrahawk out of its box, I'm afraid. Gags notwithstanding, it's probably going to stay where it is. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Do like and subscribe as ever, and cheers for now. I did say I was going to show you the back of the Hawkwing box just before I go. And there it is for you to have a look at. So it just gives you all the general sort of information that you need around the Hawkwing. And then similarly for the Terrahawk back of box there as well. Terrahawk is Dr. Nightstein's command centre, where he and Mary Falconer control the Terrahawks team. While capable of independent flight, it is normally linked onto the Battlehawk.